The huge 30-meter-tall core of a Chinese rocket is tumbling wildly through low Earth orbit and could crash anywhere on Earth in the coming days. The same type of Chinese rocket crashed into a village in West Africa a year ago. Here are the details. On Wednesday, April 28th, China launched a massive Long March 5B rocket that carried the first module of its planned space station into orbit. The Guardian reports that the core stage of this rocket was supposed to fall back to Earth in a controlled descent, but something went wrong, and the 30-meter-tall rocket stage started skipping on Earth's atmosphere. And no one knows where it will crash once the drag of Earth's atmosphere tugs it down to the planet's surface. Much of the core will likely burn up in the atmosphere, but there is a chance that some chunks of debris will survive the re-entry and rain down on the land or ocean. This, sadly, wouldn't be the first time. In May 2020, a Long March 5B rocket slammed through the atmosphere, partially burning up during its descent. The core fell largely into the Atlantic Ocean, but some debris landed in West Africa. According to the South China Morning Post, some chunks of debris crashed into houses and villages in Côte d'Ivoire, though thankfully no casualties were reported. On Tuesday, May 4th, the latest out-of-control Chinese rocket was orbiting Earth around once every 90 minutes at a speed of about 27,600 kilometers per hour and an altitude of more than 300 kilometers. The U.S. military has named it 2021-035B, and its path can be seen on websites that track objects in Earth's orbit. Speaking of big mistakes that caused a lot of damage, here are some more videos about disastrous blunders. You are looking at a massive rocket booster falling from the edge of space. It is only seconds away from hitting the ground at high speed, close to a school in China. When the rocket impacted a hillside, it exploded and released a cloud of orange smoke. It is assumed that the orange smoke contained the highly toxic chemicals that are placed in boosters to create the controlled explosions that power huge rockets. Other footage shows the orange cloud as seen from a nearby schoolyard, illustrating just how deadly this incident could have been. Children's voices can be heard shouting excitedly on the schoolyard video. Footage of the impact site shows a large crater that dwarfs the people who are standing inside it. The huge crater is surrounded by shards of metal, presumably the remains of the giant rocket booster. The booster was part of a Chinese rocket that put yet another Chinese observation satellite into Earth's orbit. The Long March 4B rocket carried a powerful Gaofen 11 Earth observation satellite. This observation satellite is capable of taking high-resolution images of objects on Earth. According to Space.com, the falling rocket booster impacted near the school just minutes after the Long March rocket was launched on Monday, 7th of September. The rocket was launched from the Taiyuan Satellite Launch Center in North China. Launches from this launch center often result in rocket debris falling near uninhabited areas. Authorities usually evacuate people from areas where the debris might fall. The incident on Monday suggests fewer precautions were taken, although the footage suggests locals may have been expecting activity. The launch was China's 25th so far in 2020. China's main state-owned space contractor said it would aim for around 40 launches in 2020. Other Chinese space contractors would carry out additional missions. Tragedy struck on the first day of Taiwan's tomb-sweeping holiday when dozens of people were killed in the country's worst train crash in decades. Here's what happened. 50 people died and 202 people were injured on the morning of Friday, April 2nd, when the 408 Taroko Express train, bound for Taidong County in southeastern Taiwan, struck a crane truck that had rolled onto its track near the Qingshui Tunnel in Hualien County. Taiwan Central News Agency reported that the truck is likely to have rolled down a grassy slope next to the track only 15 minutes before the collision, because an earlier train, the Zhejiang Limited Express, had passed by the same track position at 9:13 a.m., and the Taroko Express was derailed at 9:28 a.m. According to the reporter, the busy train was carrying 498 people, including 4 train staff, when it hit the truck. With only 372 seats available for passengers, 122 people would have been standing. At the time of the crash, the train was likely to have been traveling at around 80 miles or 130 kilometers per hour. The CNA, citing data from the train security cameras, reported that the train's driver would have had only 6.9 seconds to brake as he emerged from the nearby Hezhen Tunnel, only 250 meters from the truck. United Daily News' account of the collision itself describes how the train's 8th carriage hit the truck just in front of the Qingshui Tunnel, then derailed, crushing against the left side wall of the tunnel. The next 3 carriages were also derailed and crushed to varying degrees, and in combination, these 4 carriages make up almost all of the casualties. Citing the Central Disaster Response Center in Taiwan, the reporter broke down the casualties as follows. 28 people died in the 8th carriage, 1 died in the 7th, 2 in the 6th, and 4 in the 5th and 4th carriages. 1 person also died in the 3rd carriage, and other bodies were found outside the carriages. In the aftermath of the incident, thoughts have now turned to who should take responsibility for it. The truck's driver and the construction director of the 6-year railway safety improvement project at a site 20 meters above where the crash occurred, Li Yixiang, issued a public apology for the incident on Sunday, and there have also been calls for a wider review of train safety in Taiwan. What a surprise! The Keystone Pipeline just spilled a whole bunch of oil, this time in South Dakota. The Keystone Pipeline runs from Hardisty, Alberta to Cushing, Oklahoma and Wood River, Pacoda, Illinois. On Thursday morning, it leaked 210,000 gallons, or 5,000 barrels, of oil in Marshall County, South Dakota, near Amherst. TransCanada, the company that owns the pipeline, said it detected a drop in pressure around 6 a.m. and shut down the pipeline. TransCanada said it received permission from the landowner to investigate the spill and plan cleanup. This would be the largest Keystone oil spill to date in South Dakota. Nice. With such good news like this, we should definitely okay the proposed Keystone XL pipeline immediately.
Tiger Woods was badly injured but miraculously survived after the SUV he was driving left the road, hit a tree, and rolled. Here's how it happened. On Tuesday, February 23rd, around 7 a.m., Tiger Woods left the Turania Seaside Resort in an SUV. ESPN reports that he was on his way to an 8 a.m. appointment at the Rolling Hills Country Club and that he was running late. He proceeded to drive in a northerly direction on Hawthorne Boulevard, on a downhill stretch known for accidents caused by overspeeding, due to the sharp downward slope and subtle curving of the road. Just seconds after passing the intersection with Black Horse Road, his car left the right lane, crossing the center divider and the oncoming lane. The car then flipped over, hit a tree, and slid for dozens of yards through trees and bushes. A neighbor called 911 at 7:12 a.m. The Los Angeles Fire Department arrived at 7:28 a.m. and worked to extricate Woods from the vehicle, using various tools to remove the windshield and safely remove Woods. He was then taken to a nearby hospital where he underwent surgery on a shattered ankle and leg fractures. Rescue workers said Tiger is lucky to be alive.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.